Welcome to the Timeless Tales, where we explore the world's most captivating and intricate stories. Today, we are exploring the assassination of Alexander Litvinenko, a case that has had significant diplomatic, legal, and human rights implications. Alexander Litvinenko, a former Russian Federal Security Service (FSB) officer, defected to the United Kingdom in 2000 and became one of the most vocal critics of the Russian government under President Vladimir Putin. His tragic death in 2006 by polonium-210 poisoning shocked the world and highlighted the risk faced by political dissidents. Let's unravel the details of his assassination, the subsequent investigations, and the ongoing legal battles. I'm your host, Lord Dollar. Alexander Litvinenko was born on December 4, 1962 in Voronezh, Russia. He began his path to a military career by attending a military academy, which provided the foundational training and education necessary for his future roles. Following his education, he joined the Soviet Army, serving in various capacities. His service in the army was part of the typical trajectory for many young men in the Soviet Union, leading him to further opportunities within the military and the security services. In 1988, Litvinenko transitioned from the Soviet Army to the KGB, the Soviet Union primary security agency, where he specialized in counterintelligence and criminal investigations. After the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, he continued his career in the FSB, the successor to the KGB. Litvinenko work in the FSB focused on the counterintelligence and combating organized crime, making him a significant figure within the Russian security services before his eventual defection to the United Kingdom in 2000. Alexander Litvinenko's disillusionment within the Russian state security apparatus began in the late 1990s when he openly criticized corruption within the FSB and accused it of orchestrating criminal activities. One of his most explosive claims was that the FSB was involved in the 1999 apartment bombing in Russia, which were used as a pretext for the Second Chechen War. In 2000, facing persecution in Russia, Litvinenko fled to the United Kingdom, where he was granted asylum. In the UK, he continued his crusade against the Kremlin, collaborating with the journalists, writing books, and providing intelligence to the British authorities. His outspoken stance made him a marked man. It was clear that he had made powerful enemies within the Russian establishment. On November 1, 2006, Litvinenko met with two former KGB agents, Andrei Lugovoy and Dmitry Kovtun, at the Millennium Hotel in London. It is believed that Litvinenko was ingesting polonium-210, a rare and highly radioactive substance, during this meeting. Polonium-210 is lethal even in minuscule amounts. It is used its use pointed directly to a sophisticated and a state-sponsored operation. Litvinenko poisoning was not immediately obvious. It took several days for the symptoms to manifest and for medical professionals to diagnose his condition accurately. His rapid health deterioration puzzled doctors. Polonium-210 poisoning is extremely rare and difficult to detect. It was only after extensive testing and collaboration with the toxicologists and that the presence of polonium-210 was confirmed. Following his meeting with Lugovoy and Kovtun, Litvinenko experienced severe symptoms, including vomiting and extreme weakness. As his condition worsened, he was admitted to a hospital in London. Despite intensive medical care, his health continued to decline rapidly. Litvinenko's symptoms, which included hair loss and organ failure, were consistent with acute radiation poisoning. On December 23, 2006, after 3 weeks of suffering, Alexander Litvinenko succumbed to his illness. Postmortem examinations revealed a significant amount of polonium-210 in his body, confirming that the cause of death. This discovery was unprecedented and highlighted the lengths to which his assassins had gone to ensure his demise. The British authorities launched a comprehensive investigation into Litvinenko's death. The probe revealed a trail of radioactive contamination at various locations that Lugovoy and Kovtun had visited, including the Millennium Hotel and the plane they traveled on. These findings established a clear connection between the suspect and the poisoning. In 2016, a British public inquiry concluded that Litvinenko's murder was likely ordered by the Russian state, with the probable approval of the President Vladimir Putin and FSB chief Nikolai Patrushev. The inquiry provided compelling evidence that Lugovoy and Kovtun had executed the assassination under the orders of the FSB. The use of polonium-210, a substance that could only be obtained through state resources, further implicated the Russian government in the murder. The assassination of Litvinenko had significant diplomatic consequences. The UK government expelled several Russian diplomats in response to Moscow refusal to extradite Lugovoy and Kovtun for the trial in the UK. This incident led to a period of heightened tensions and mutual recrimination between the two nations. Despite international pressure, Russia denied any involvement in Litvinenko's death and refused to cooperate with the investigations. This stance further strained UK-Russia relations and underscored the complexities of dealing with a state-sponsored assassination on foreign soil. The case of Alexander Litvinenko remains active in various legal arenas. Besides the British public inquiry, the European Court of Human Rights has played a crucial role in examining the case. In September 2021, The European Court of Human Rights ruled that Russia was responsible for Litvinenko's assassination and ordered Moscow to pay $100,000 in damages to his widow, Marina Litvinenko. This ruling reinforced the findings of the British inquiry and highlighted the use of state resources in carrying out the assassination. Despite the findings of the British inquiry and the European Court of Human Rights ruling, bringing those responsible for Litvinenko's death to justice had proven difficult. Russia's refusal to extradite Lugovoy and Kovatin, who have been shielded from persecution by the Kremlin, poses a significant obstacle. Lugovoy, in particular, has enjoyed political protection, having been elected to the Russian State Duma, which grants him immunity from prosecution. The lack of accountability for Litvinenko's murder underscores the challenges faced by international community in addressing state-sponsored assassinations. The case highlights the limitations of international law and the difficulties in holding powerful states to account for actions carried out beyond their borders. The assassination of Alexander Litvinenko is part of a broader pattern of extrajudicial killings and acts of violence attributed to the Russian state against dissidents and opponents. Just to remind you, other high-profile cases of extrajudicial killings in Russia include the poisoning of Sergei Skripal, a former Russian military officer and double agent for the UK, and the shooting of Boris Nemtsov, a prominent opposition leader near the Kremlin. These incidents illustrate a pattern of targeting individuals deemed threats to the Russian government interests, often with impunity. International pressure and sanctions have been tools used by countries like the UK and the US to respond to these acts of aggressions. Sanctions targeting individuals and entities associated with the Kremlin have been implemented to signal the condemnation and attempt to deter future actions. However, the effectiveness of the measures remains debated, as Russia has shown resilience and adaptability in the face of the economic and political pressures. The human cost of the state-sponsored assassinations is profound. Litvinenko's death left her family grieving and highlighting the personal risk faced by the dissidents. Marina Litvinenko, Alexander's widow, has been a vocal advocate for justice, tirelessly campaigning to hold those responsible accountable. Her efforts have kept the case in the public eye and maintained pressure on the international community to address the issue of political assassinations. The case of Alexander Litvinenko highlights the peril that can come from one's inner circle, showing how close associates can ultimately lead to one's downfall. Litvinenko, a former FSB agent who defected and became a vocal critic of the Russian government, was poisoned by individuals he met with voluntarily. This tragic incident underscores a significant risk for those who challenge powerful entities. The danger may come not only from overt enemies, but also from those within their trusted circle. Litvinenko's poisoning serves as a poignant reminder that betrayal can emerge from familiar and trusted quarters. The individuals responsible for administering the lethal dose of polonium-210 were not strangers. They were people Litvinenko believed he could meet without suspicion. This circumstance simplifies the notion that defectors and outspoken critics must exercise heightened caution regarding those around them. Even trusted friends or associates can be manipulated or coerced into becoming tools of assassination. The tragic outcome of Litvinenko's story illustrates a broader theme of how defectors and dissidents must navigate a treacherous landscape, where the threat is often hidden in plain sight. It is a stark warning that personal relationship and perceived loyalty can be exploited by powerful adversaries to neutralize opposition. Litvinenko's case is not just about the act of poisoning, but also about the insidious ways in which trust can be weaponized. The assassination of Alexander Litvinenko remains a stark reminder of lengths in which some states will go to silence dissidents and protect their interests. The ongoing legal battles, including rulings by the European Court of Human Rights, underscore the importance of upholding international law and human rights. However, the limitations of these mechanisms in the face of state resistance highlight the need for continued vigilance and cooperation among nations to address such grave violations. Litvinenko's legacy is a call to action for the international community to strengthen the frameworks that protect individuals from state-sponsored violence and to ensure the perpetrators are held accountable, regardless of their power or position. The case serves as a sobering example of the ongoing struggle for justice in a world where political interests often override the rule of law. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the assassination of Alexander Litvinenko. We hope this episode has provided you with a comprehensive understanding of the case and its broader implications. Stay tuned for more in-depth analysis of critical global issues on our next episode.